Hey, party people. Amanda is out, so you're stuck with me, but we can get through this. Hey, so tomorrow, big market moving news, BLS jobs report. It really made me want to just give a little bit more insight as to why rates are what they are, because this BLS jobs report is going to be very market moving. We are going to see interest rates stay below 7%. Rates have had a good week. They're just below 7%, or we're going to see them push above 7%. And this all has to do with the Fed's mandate. So the Fed's mandate is price stability and max employment. So if we think back to September 18 months ago, inflation was at 9%. You know, what do the Feds do to keep prices stable whenever inflation is high? They raise rates. They raise them as high as they can, as long as they can, because it limits the spending power of the consumer. So if we think of a consumer, 2, 3, 4 years ago, maybe they've got a 3% interest rate on their house, a 3% interest rate on their car, 10% interest rate on their credit card. Like, it gives them so much purchasing power out in the economy. That same buyer today, if they bought a new house, bought a new car, maybe they're at 7% on their mortgage, they're at 7% on their auto, they're at 20% on their credit card. It really limits the amount of spending. So the less money in the economy, the less inflation. And we see this, play out in a very small way in real estate, right? If we've got one house and 3 buyers want it, we see that price oftentimes get inflated. So that's all the inflation is just too much money chasing too few goods. And so we've done a great job with inflation. We know that when inflation goes up, rates go up, and when inflation goes down, rates go down. Well, inflation was at 9%. Today, inflation is at 2.8, really getting close to the Fed's favorite measure of inflation. So if rates went up when inflation went up, but now inflation has gone down, but rates are the same, why is that? And that is the second part of the dual mandate. The Feds are going to raise rates and keep them as high as they can for as long as they can, until it affects employment. And so with less money in the economy, businesses, they don't scale and grow. So, we won't see as much hiring. And then ultimately, at some point they will start letting people go. And because that is the Fed's next mandate, we can deal with high inflation for 10 months, but we can't deal with high unemployment for 10 months. That'll tank an economy. So as soon as we start to see the unemployment rise, Feds will start taking their foot off the gas, lowering interest rates. And I just don't know if that's going to happen in this jobs report. There's still been a good amount of money in the economy. Businesses have been doing well. There's been some really wild, wacky reports like, for the first time ever, the interest that is paid the majority of it is non-mortgage. So, for the last several decades, the majority of interest paid was mortgage related. For the first time ever, it's not, which means what? It's consumable type debt, credit cards and things of that nature. We also had a report saying for the first time in 10 years, the average credit score went down. So 10 years in a row, credit scores were going up. And because these credit cards are getting to their max, we're seeing some missed payments. Credit scores are going down. And while that in and of itself, isn't considered a good thing, it is good for our overall economy, because we will see that impact the economy as the consumer continues to lose steam, less money in the economy, less inflation, businesses not scaling and growing. And so this BLS jobs report, pay attention to it tomorrow. It's going to be a market mover. But regardless, just know, and the whole purpose of this message is just to remind everybody that we are moving into an environment of lower interest rates. And we got there a little bit earlier this year. We were in the 6s, and I think everybody kind of saw, the buyers sort of, popped up and started hitting the market. And as we got to 7, it sort of slowed down a little bit. So, expect us to get into the 6s here in the next quarter and things to pick up. And that's it. Hopefully this update helps. Have a wonderful weekend.